Gentlemen over 60, let me ask you something. Have you noticed your body doesn't respond the way it used to? Maybe you're drinking baking soda every morning, hoping for better circulation, stronger performance, and yet weeks pass. Nothing changes. Here's what your doctor probably never told you. Baking soda is only half the equation. When you combine it with one simple ingredient, something extraordinary happens. I'm going to show you what that ingredient is. Before we get into this, where are you watching from today? United States? Australia? United Kingdom? South Africa? India? Drop your location below. I'm always amazed by this global brotherhood of men over 60 who refuse to believe their best years are behind them. Here's the narrative society keeps pushing. You're over 60. Decline is inevitable. Accept it. And if you're lucky, maybe some expensive medication will help. But here's the truth. Your vascular system isn't failing because of age. It's failing because of 4 specific biochemical breakdowns, and baking soda addresses exactly one of those 4. You're trying to solve a 4-part problem with a 1-part solution. Today, we're going deep into 4 mechanisms your body needs to restore blood flow after 60. Mechanism 1 protects the signaling molecule your vessels depend on. Mechanism 2 ensures oxygen actually reaches your tissues. Mechanism 3 gives your smooth muscle energy to dilate and hold. And mechanism 4 neutralizes the acid that shuts everything down. Let me explain what's happening inside your body. After 60, your blood pH shifts slightly more acidic. Not enough to cause alarm, not enough for your doctor to mention it, but enough to suppress nitric oxide production by 20 to 30%. Nitric oxide is the master molecule that signals your blood vessels to relax, to open wide, to let blood surge through. When nitric oxide drops, so does everything else. At the same time, free radicals are increasing. These unstable molecules attack nitric oxide the moment it's produced. Your red blood cells are losing flexibility, their membranes stiffen, they can't bend and squeeze through narrow capillaries. And the smooth muscle tissue lining your blood vessels, it's running out of ATP. Without energy, those muscles can't contract or relax. Dilation becomes weak, unreliable, so when intimacy arrives, your body is fighting 4 battles. Low nitric oxide production, oxidative destruction, stiff red blood cells, energy-depleted smooth muscle. This isn't about being too old. This is about biochemistry breaking down. And baking soda only fixes one piece. Now, most men try baking soda for a few weeks, see nothing, and quit. They assume it's another empty promise. What they don't realize is they're missing the critical activator. But without this second compound, you're getting maybe 15 to 20% of the benefit. Your body is still dealing with oxidative stress, still dealing with stiff red blood cells, still dealing with energy depletion. I'm going to reveal what that compound is in just a moment. That compound is citric acid. When you dissolve baking soda and citric acid together in water, they undergo a chemical reaction, bubbling, fizzing. But what's left behind is something your body recognizes immediately. Sodium citrate. And sodium citrate activates pathways baking soda cannot touch. Mechanism 1. Sodium citrate acts as a powerful antioxidant buffer targeting vascular oxidative stress. Think of oxidative stress like rust spreading through metal pipes. Nitric oxide gets destroyed by oxidative stress within seconds. You're making it. Free radicals are annihilating it. Net result? Nothing happens. Sodium citrate changes this. It donates electrons to neutralize those free radicals before they can attack nitric oxide. It's like coating your pipes with a protective layer rust cannot penetrate. Suddenly, the nitric oxide your body produces survives long enough to actually signal your blood vessels. They receive the message, they relax, they open, blood flow increases dramatically. Now, protection is critical, but here's what 80% of men over 60 don't realize. Even when nitric oxide is protected, even when vessels receive the signal to dilate, blood still might not reach where it needs to go. Why? Because oxygen delivery is compromised. If you're still with me, type 1 below. So that's the mechanism 1 handle. Nitric oxide protected from oxidative destruction. Now, here's the problem. Signals are useless if the delivery system is broken. You need oxygen moving through those newly opened vessels. That's where mechanism 2 becomes essential. Mechanism 2. Sodium citrate improves red blood cell deformability. Your blood is packed with millions of red blood cells, each one carrying oxygen molecules. Under normal circumstances, these cells are flexible, elastic, able to squeeze through capillaries narrower than their own diameter. But after 60, cellular membranes stiffen, lipid composition changes, proteins become rigid, red blood cells can't bend. This creates a bottleneck. Your vessels might be open, nitric oxide might be signaling perfectly, but if red blood cells can't squeeze through the smallest pathways, oxygen never reaches the tissue. You feel weak, fatigued. Stamina collapses halfway through. Sodium citrate alters the membrane structure of red blood cells, making them softer, more pliable, more willing to deform and squeeze through tight spaces. Oxygen delivery surges throughout your system. Tissues that have been operating on minimal oxygen suddenly get flooded with fresh fuel. Energy returns. Endurance improves. That mid-performance fade, it starts disappearing. But even with oxygen flooding in, even with nitric oxide protected and vessels dilated, there's still a third problem. Your blood vessels themselves need energy to stay open. It requires ATP. And after 60, ATP production drops significantly. All right, we've protected nitric oxide. We've restored oxygen delivery. Now comes mechanism 3. This is the part 95% of men completely overlook. Your blood vessels are made of smooth muscle tissue. That tissue needs energy, real cellular energy in the form of ATP, to contract and relax. Without ATP, dilation fails. Vessels might start to open, but they can't hold. Everything collapses. Mechanism 3. Sodium citrate feeds directly into the citric acid cycle, the Krebs cycle. This is your body's primary energy factory. Every cell uses this cycle to convert nutrients into ATP. As you age, Krebs cycle efficiency drops. Your mitochondria produce less ATP. When sodium citrate enters your bloodstream, it bypasses several rate-limiting steps in the Krebs cycle. It accelerates ATP production dramatically. Your smooth muscle cells suddenly have abundant energy to dilate fully and maintain that dilation. This is the difference between starting strong and fading versus finishing even stronger. Type 2, if this makes sense. Type 3, if you've experienced this frustration. Now, you've got 3 mechanisms working: protection, delivery, energy, but there's still mechanism 4, the silent killer that shuts down performance right when you need it. During any physical exertion, your muscles flood your bloodstream with acid, unless something continuously neutralizes it. So that's mechanism 3 working. Your vessels have ATP. They can dilate and hold, but during intense activity, acid accumulates fast. And if that acid isn't buffered immediately, it overwhelms every mechanism. Your pH drops, nitric oxide production crashes, everything shuts down. That's where mechanism 4 saves everything. Mechanism 4. When you mix baking soda and citric acid, not all the bicarbonate reacts. Some remains free in solution, continuing to act as a pH buffer throughout your system. During intimacy, during any sustained effort, your muscles generate acid constantly. This acid wants to lower your blood pH, which would shut down nitric oxide synthesis, impair oxygen delivery, and drain ATP production. The free bicarbonate circulating in your bloodstream intercepts that acid the moment it's produced. It neutralizes it before pH can drop, before fatigue can set in. You're getting dual benefits: sodium citrate transforming your vascular biochemistry, bicarbonate protecting that biochemistry under stress. 2 layers working simultaneously. Now, when these 4 mechanisms align and work together, results become undeniable. Let me show you. Richard, 71, from Melbourne, Australia. He came to my clinic after trying baking soda for 5 months straight. Every morning, half a teaspoon in water. 5 months later, nothing had changed. He was discouraged, frustrated. I asked him one question. Richard, are you taking citric acid with it? He stared at me. Citric acid? No. Why would I? I explained what you're learning. The 4 mechanisms, the missing compound. Richard started mixing 1 gram of citric acid with 3 grams of baking soda, a 2-to-1 ratio, in 10 ounces of water. He took it 60 minutes before intimacy. 3 weeks later, he sent me an email. "Doc," he wrote, "I feel like I've gone back 15 years. The warmth, the readiness, the confidence. My wife noticed immediately. Everything works. Same baking soda, same dose. But now with citric acid creating sodium citrate and activating all 4 mechanisms, his body finally had what it needed." That transformation wasn't luck, it wasn't placebo, it was biochemistry. But here's what separated his success from his previous failure: timing. Most men take this mixture 5 or 10 minutes before and wonder why nothing happens. Your body needs time. When you drink baking soda and citric acid mixed in water, absorption doesn't happen instantly. Your stomach needs to process it. Your intestines need to absorb it. Your bloodstream needs to distribute it. This takes time. Between 45 and 75 minutes. In the first 15 minutes, bicarbonate begins absorbing. Your blood pH starts shifting upward. Nitric oxide production begins increasing. Between 15 and 30 minutes, sodium citrate reaches your bloodstream. Mechanism 1 activates. Oxidative stress starts dropping. Between 30 and 50 minutes, red blood cells begin responding. Their membranes become more fluid, more flexible. Mechanism 2 is online. Oxygen delivery starts improving. Between 50 and 75 minutes, you enter peak readiness. All 4 mechanisms are fully active simultaneously. Gentlemen, try this protocol for 45 days. The ratio is simple: 2 parts baking soda to 1 part citric acid. 3 grams of baking soda, roughly half a teaspoon. 1.5 grams of citric acid, roughly a quarter teaspoon. Mix them in 10 ounces of water. Let it fizz. 30 to 60 seconds. Drink the entire glass. Do this 60 to 75 minutes before you need peak vascular function. Here's my challenge. Have you been trying things that haven't worked? Type tried if yes. Type never if this is your first time. I'm asking because most men over 60 notice changes within 3 to 4 weeks. Come back after your first month and tell me what happened. What changed? Which mechanism made the biggest difference? I'm Sophie Morgan. 71 is not too old. 65 is not too old. Your body is still capable of responding powerfully when you give it exactly what it needs.